You're tuned in to the Nerd Network Podcast.
You're watching and listening to the Nerd Network Podcast. I'm your host, Marcy. Here with Julian Blake. Today, we're going to talk about a specific topic. Very specific topic. We are going to talk about professional wrestling. Yes, you heard it, professional wrestling. Is wrestling real or fake? You, the viewers, decide. All right, Julian, you watch wrestling. Blake, when was the last time you watched wrestling? I'm talking about straight up WWE style wrestling.
I don't know, like 6th grade maybe?
I really want to go into this topic because there's some crazy cool stuff happening in the wrestling world right now. What made you stop watching wrestling as a human being? You were a fan, and obviously we all know it's fake. What made you stop?
Okay, so I was never a fan.
Oh man!
Like my closest friends were big fans, and so I would go spend the night at their house, or I'd be hanging out for a couple of days in the summer, or whenever, and I would watch it with them, or they would get the new wrestling video game, or whatever it was, and so they would come in with the Stone Cold T-shirts and the Rock. You smell what the Rock is cooking, and all this sort of thing, and so I was a twice removed fan, I could never get into it because is much, acting and things like that were going on. I never understood the concept, how you can find out what's going to happen next. And I know somewhere on a piece of paper, it's written down what's going to happen next. I couldn't get into it for that reason. Who's going to win the next championship? This guy's up and coming. He's only up and coming because the
Don't think about it. Just watch it.
But see, I can't do that.
But how could you do that for TV shows and movies though? What's the difference?
I guess
no difference.
Okay.
We're gonna go into that. We're gonna go into it. But finish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing for me is in a TV show, the good guy always wins. You know what I'm saying? The hero is gonna be the hero. The police are gonna get who are they Even the anti-hero Dexter, he's gonna get his guy. You know what I'm saying? So but I think maybe it's just because of my sports background. Any given Sunday, literally the worst guy, the worst team, the worst racing car driver, whatever. If the weather's wrong, if this guy drops it, has a moment lapse of judgment, whatever, anything could happen. To know that this wrestler he's my favorite one. He's never going to amount to anything, or maybe he's going to get really close and then not win it. The fact that, just the fact that it's not anything can happen.
Yeah.
I wish that I could have immersed myself into that. And maybe it was because nobody in my household watched wrestling. My dad, my uncles, nobody.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why, but that's why I couldn't just step into it myself.
No, I totally understand that. And I feel like if you never knew anything about it and you just heard that it's fake and it's all staged and scripted or whatever, and you try to dive into it and just try to get into it, you can't. It's kind of hard.
Right.
You kind of have to do some training a little bit, and then once you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah. I remember this conversation in 4th grade. Mm-hmm. We were at a friend's house watching wrestling, and there was I guess he would have been not one of the biggest guys in the ring or whatever, not the most popular, not the most, whatever. And I was he had a really cool name, and I just remember he was big. And I was just they were so who do you like or whatever? And I was that guy. And they're oh, well, he sucks. He never wins. And I was well, why not? And they're oh, well, because these are the stars. Wrestling's not it's not real like that. They're really not out there trying to hurt each other. Yeah. And I was well, this is dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Well, oh, that's so funny. We're gonna get back into that topic a little bit more. Julian, your thoughts on wrestling and why you watch it, and what's your story of getting into wrestling? Was it me or before that?
No, I mean, my dad would have it on occasionally. We would watch it, but then my mom would be what the hell is this? So,
these guys running around in their underwear.
I grew up in the Attitude Era, so it was anything goes at that point. So I remember we were watching it one time. My mom came home and she was Tracy, what? So that got shut down. But my dad took us, to WWE shows when they used to have them at the Expo Center back in the 90s and stuff. So I was aware of wrestling. I know I grew up with Stone Cold and The Rock and everything. And then after that, after my childhood and stuff, I just never really paid attention to it until, we started hanging out and I was watching it pretty much on a regular basis. But I mean, I'm kind of like you, you hear all the things about it being scripted and everything. And for a lot of people that can be a turnoff because, you, like you were saying, you have this big, dude who loses. You're just like, how the hell does that happen?
Right.
But I've just come to think of it, like view wrestling as like a live action anime pretty much where, just to take it as it is, and just.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it.
And just watch it, just. That's kind of how I have to.
When we went to the Spawn Inn, and watch wrestling down there. I don't mind watching it. Like I'll sit down and watch it, and I'll pay attention to what's going on. It's like when I sit down, like if I go to a sports bar and like hockey is on, like I know enough about it to be entertained. But I'm not gonna go home like, oh my God, what's gonna happen next week? You know what I'm saying? Like,
or researching,
right?
Yeah, and I'm not like that either. Like, I like to watch it and enjoy it.
But I do, Marcy, I do appreciate it though. Like, if it's on, I'll watch it. I'm not gonna turn away from a Monday night football game to watch.
Oh no,
wrestling.
That's totally fine. People like what they like, what they don't like, whatever. I just wanted to dive into a little bit. I'm gonna turn you to the dark side.
That's fine.
And no, I wanted to discuss it because I feel like all three of us have different backgrounds and how we like wrestling and if we didn't like wrestling and whatnot. So I wanted to bring that up today. My first wrestling, I don't know. I want to say, I grew up obviously in the Attitude Era. Funny story is let's say in middle school, I don't know what grade, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, I don't know, where people were watching it. And my friends were talking about it. And I'm like, what are they talking about?
Right.
And I didn't realize, they're talking about wrestling. I don't know what the heck that is. So I'll try to find it one night. I'm trying to watch it on a Monday night, trying to find it. And, I see a big, huge bald guy spearing people, tackling people. I'm like, what the heck? This is huge.
Right.
And then seeing Hulk Hogan. All right, cool. That's whatever. And then, I just remember these guys talking about this bald guy, and this guy had a beard, and I was like, oh, but man, who is this guy they're talking about? And then, so I'm watching, Monday night, and then I come to school ready to talk to my friends about it. I realize I'm watching WCW, they're watching WWF. I'm talking about Goldberg, they're talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was like, oh, shoot, I'm not cool.
Right.
Like, everyone of them was watching that.
Right.
But I mean, I was like, WCW was cool, but since I found out they were talking about WWF at the time, I switched to that because all my friends watched that. So then I watched that so I could be included in the conversation and then kind of picked up on that. And then going forward, actually getting involved in like really watching it with my family and my stepbrother at the time. And I grew up watching it until The Rock retired. The Rock left to go to Hollywood. And then once The Rock left, I didn't care anymore. And then I was like, why is he leaving? Why is he going to Hollywood? He's on top. He's really good. He fought Hulk Hogan, And then I got back into it. And I was like, why did I want to watch it again? And the reason why I wanted to watch it again is because of this guy called CM Punk who went off script and cut this amazing promo, talking on the microphone. And I was like, is he allowed to say that? He was basically talking about how Vince McMahon should be dead and the company would be better. Like, who would say that?
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so, oh my gosh. And then that's when me and Julia met, and we were roommates. Like, Julia, you have to watch this dude talking this shit on the microphone right now. And it kind of evolved from there. Like,
well, but they did like crazy stuff like that. Like, didn't they crush one of his cars like for real one time? Vince McMahon?
Oh yeah, well, they did a lot of gimmicks like that. But like, what they were doing storyline wise at the time period, he was like breaking the fourth wall.
Okay.
And like, you're like, is this like the line between realness and fake? They
blurred it.
They blurred it so well, and it caught my attention again. Like, okay, I know this is supposed to be fake, but was he saying? And they cut off his mic, so like it added to the illusion. Like, oh, they did such a good job.
Now that's cool.
No,
that's cool.
They did such a good job, and it got me back into it. And then, on a regular basis, me and Julian kind of started watching it again. I wanted to see where this is going to go. And then The Rock came back eventually, and then I was like, oh, cool. Well, that's cool. That's and then it kind of just got me back into it. But overall, why I like it so much and how the same thing that everyone else said is basically soap opera with ballet.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. Like, and there's a lot of people out there who can't get into it, which I don't know how they couldn't get into it If they like video games, if they like anime, they like comic books, that's exactly what wrestling is. It's a live action version of that.
Yeah.
And mixed with sports. I mean, these guys are athletes. These guys are wrestling on the road, 6 days out of the 7 days a week. They put their bodies through tremendous exercising and, working out, keeping their bodies in shape and performing without stopping. And, no days off is like craziness. The show always goes on, whether you're really hurt or not. Breaking a finger, you're still wrestling.
Yeah.
Keeping that illusion of it being real or fake or not. Obviously, us being smarter, we all know it's unscripted. But there's a lot of times where they go off script and you don't know if they really meant to or not. Someone's doing a backflip and they F it up. Do they really F it up? Do they really mistake? Did they mistake on purpose? Someone does get hurt. How do they continue the match and finish the match without just stopping right then and there? I feel like the appreciation of knowing that it's fake and these as performers, because that's how I see it now.
Right.
Is that these guys performers and their job is to make it look real as possible, to blur the line. And the more that they do that, the more I get into it, and that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Because go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like a circus act. Like the high, the people on the high wire,
artists.
And stuff like that. Like they do things sometimes where it's like, oh, and it's like that guy does that like 6 days a week with his eyes closed. Like this is for show. And so, I feel like the way that you're talking about it, not just the way that it sounds like they're kind of blurring the lines now. But I could see myself getting into it. I feel like this would be like Game of Thrones for me. So like Game of Thrones through like the first like 4 or 5 seasons, I was like, what is this? Yeah. I couldn't, I never watched an episode, but I would see clips of it here and there. And it's just like, there's no way I could watch this. I didn't relate to any of the characters. But then once you watch it, you kind of get immersed into that world and you understand, like, obviously there weren't dragons or ice people or, whatever it is. Like, I could see myself getting into this.
Well, the thing about it now, it's actually more sports oriented now. Like a lot of the crazy storylines and people disappearing and dying, getting buried and set on fire, which is funny that just came back actually. But like the storylines, people getting kidnapped and people getting killed and blowing up in explosions and stuff. That is gone. That stuff's gone. They do sprinkle once of it ever so often, but it's not like on the daily episodic type of thing anymore. The things that these athletes are doing now compared to back in the day when it was Attitude Era is in day and night difference.
Yeah.
These guys are legit athletes, what they have to do.
Yeah.
They have to be very diverse in what they can do in the ring. I think if you'd watch it, just athleticism, you'd be so shocked at what they can do.
Oh, I'm sure, man. I mean, I see like the posters, like some guy jumping off the ropes and this dude is like 280 pounds, like 6'5", and he's like full spread eagle, like, coming down on a guy like, and I was lucky enough, to meet Hulk Hogan once, and you can see what it did to his body. Like the dude doesn't have full range of motion. He's not super flexible, you can see it. And I watched a Mr. T documentary one time. And he talked about how much time he spent practicing when he would like go to WrestleMania. I think that was when he...
Yeah, it was the first WrestleMania.
Yeah. When he was practicing for that, he talked about, he always talked about himself in the third person, but he's like, Mr. T doesn't want to get hurt. Like this, like you can get hurt doing this. And so I've always had that appreciation for what they do. I've never thought from that aspect of it that, that wasn't the reason why I liked it. Because, these dudes, they are massive. And, jumping off of ropes. I remember there were, like, cage matches and things like that. And ladders, jumping off of ladders. Like, dude, I'm afraid to get on the ladder to do the gutters and stuff like that. I'm, like, 10 feet up in the air. So I definitely appreciate what they do.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that's like, once you appreciate it, and then I swear you just dive right back into it. Like, I'm just shocked at how still... I like watching it, and I don't get bored. Some matches I get bored, but overall the product, I don't get that bored with it. But now, wrestling today, there's so much wrestling out there, good wrestling out there. WWE/WWF, whatever you want to call it, if you refer it to from you recognize it from before. There's other companies out there right now who are giving WWE/WWF a run for their money right now. Obviously WWE's been around forever and they're a top dog right now. But there's a new company called AEW right now that's on TNT. They're basically like, people always want to compare it. They're like the new WCW, which is the competition to WWE/WWF. They're doing some big things right now. They're owned by Tony Khan, by the Khan family that own the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
Whatever billionaire money they have. But they're putting out a really good product right now that comes out on Wednesdays. There's a lot of cool wrestling content right now, and I want to start diving into a little bit of that going forward with some of these episodes. I don't know, some wrestling talk I'm going to start doing. But no, I just wanted to bring that up today and see what people's thoughts are on wrestling, if they watch wrestling. I guess I want people to comment below why they don't like watching wrestling anymore. When's the last time you watched wrestling? Who's your favorite wrestler? I don't know. That's where that's the whole process of my thought. I don't know how I want to end this at all. Besides, Blake, watch an episode.
Yeah.
Time.
Give me, whatever day it comes on and what time it comes on, and I'll watch it. Like I'm gonna be honest. I'm open minded to anything. Your experience with wrestling sounds like my experience with anime. Like when I was a kid, I was really big into Toonami. That was my jam.
Yeah, I know,
you know what I mean? And then I got away with it, after into high school and things like that when a lot of Toonami changed. And I didn't get back into it until my son was born, like 23, 24 years old. And then it just slowly kind of built it back up into where now it competes with, as much of the actual like live action, like actual people shows that I watch. Like, so yeah, I'm definitely open minded.
Julian, what do you think you should watch? AEW, WWE, or Impact Wrestling?
Oh.
What should Blake start off with right now? Like what's the first thing he should watch? He's like coming back to even get him to switch over to the wrestling side. What would you have him watch? I don't even know. It depends because all three companies are different.
Right.
They really
well, I mean,
are.
if they're coming on TV, I mean, I have cable, so I can DVR them. So
Yeah.
I mean, if
I'm saying if you want to start with one, like I'm trying to get you to start with the one that will keep your attention, like to possibly be open to watching the other two.
Yeah.
Which one would you say for him to watch?
Impact isn't on regular network.
No,
cable, is it?
Impact's on Access TV if you have Access TV. So Impact Wrestling's on Access TV, AEW's on TNT, and then WWE's on USA and Fox.
So it'd have to be. I don't know what the Access is, so
I would
probably
say
not that one.
check out AEW. I like AEW.
So all right. So is this? Am I gonna watch an episode of this and be like, this character's cool, and then I'm gonna come in here and you guys are gonna be like, you got to find somebody else. Like he's not gonna.
I don't know.
Be anything.
I don't really know. We'll find out. I mean,
that's what's so, like. I'm gonna be honest. So like the way that I view characters, I always like. I'm gonna go back to my youth here. So like in cartoons, like I always really like characters for what they could be.
Oh, for sure.
Like I think about the movie Predator. Like, you watch that. I always fantasized about what the Predator could be. Not necessarily the limitations, not seeing Arnold in a mud pit or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was one of the turnoffs is like, I know in real life, like Predator, he would have got him. Yeah. But like in wrestling, am I going to pick a guy? Might I like a guy? And like he's just gonna get his ass whooped every week. Like
I don't know. Wrestling I don't think wrestling's really like that too much now.
No. I mean, obviously they have like their superstars, but
right.
I feel like everybody for the most part gets their turn in the sun. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it rotates. And there's always coming and going and there's training from other companies.
Yeah.
Like
there's team ups, there's groups that form. So I mean there's a lot that goes on with the characters and stuff. So I wouldn't say there's any bad character nowadays anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I have my favorites, but I still like them all.
Right.
Like that's the thing about them now is that I appreciate all the wrestlers. I don't think there's anyone I really hate. But no, yeah, that'd be cool. So yeah, we're gonna have you start with AEW. If you guys think Blake should watch someone different company, shoot, man, there's so much just Japan wrestling. Like that's some hard hitting wrestling, and they don't hold back at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the storylines suck though. Like it's not. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, check it out. Hopefully we'll hear back from Blake and see what he thinks about AEW. I'll send. Yeah, if you have TNT.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7 to 9 on Wednesdays. I miss it to do this podcast. I get the recap the next day. All right, cool. We're going to see if Blake is going to get into wrestling. Comment below your favorite wrestler, your favorite company. All right, we're out of here. Peace out. Click the button, Julian.
Please subscribe to our podcast.